If you've ever tried to make your iPhone footage look cinematic, you've probably struggled with the dreaded iPhone look. As a video producer and filmmaker, I'm always trying to get the absolute most out of my footage, and now with the iPhone 16 Pro, you can finally get beautiful cinematic shots straight out of the box. That is, if you know how. So let's break down the easiest and most effective settings and techniques to get that pro-level footage from your iPhone 16 Pro. So right off the bat, let's get into our camera settings. The very first thing we want to click is Format, enable Apple ProRes shooting, and make sure that the ProRes encoding is set to log. Essentially what log shooting does is it helps capture and preserve more information in the highlights and the shadows, so you have way more flexibility later on when you're editing your footage. It'll make the image look flatter and kind of dull when you're seeing it on your phone, but I promise this will look great when we edit it later on. Next, let's make sure the camera capture settings are set to most compatible so we aren't compressing our image. Now that we've changed those two main settings, let's go into preserve settings and enable exposure adjustment so we can help make sure that we're never overexposing our highlights. If you'd like, you can also pop on a grid and even a level if you'd like some visual guides for shot composition. Lastly, in the record video section, let's lock our camera so it doesn't jump to a different lens as we zoom in. And let's lock our white balance so our phone isn't adjusting the color temperature of our image as we're recording. Again, this all will help us in post-production so that our shots are looking consistent. Honestly, I'm shocked by how many videos there are that don't address just how important optimizing your footage for post-production is, because really that's where we can make a ton of our stylistic changes and really dial in our cinematic look even further. But before we get into that later in the video, we need to talk about something even more crucial. Now that we've dialed in our settings, we can talk about one of the most important factors for not just iPhone filmmaking, but for all filmmaking that really determines just how cinematic a shot looks: control. One of the biggest distinguishing factors between Hollywood cinematographers and regular filmmakers is the degree of control they have over each of the individual elements of their shot. Obviously, with massive budgets and usually much more time to spend on each individual shot, it makes sense how Hollywood cinematographers can obsess over and control every single element of their image to achieve that cinematic look for every single shot. Personally though, I think that gear and budget can be an easy excuse for not being able to get a great shot, and honestly I think we're in one of the best times ever for budget filmmakers to be able to achieve some pretty incredible visuals. So let's talk about how we can take the most important elements that Hollywood filmmakers use to get their cinematic shots and apply them on a budget to our iPhone filmmaking. I'll be going into more depth on some of these filmmaking concepts in future videos, so make sure you subscribe and follow along for that, but for now, let's keep it simple. There are three key components to cinematic filmmaking that I think we can easily apply to filmmaking with the iPhone 16 Pro. Number one, take a look at these shots. There's one thing that they all have in common. Need a hint? They don't look like this. Not very pleasing, right? For the most part, when we think about cinematic images, we think about controlled lighting. In cinematic shots, one part in particular is almost always more muted. If you notice in all of these images, even in the shots that seemed bright, the highlights are pretty much never blown out, except in certain stylistic scenarios. If we look at some waveforms of these shots, you can see that the luminance values of these images are never really reaching the top of our chart here. The information is retained and we can usually even see a hint of color in the highlights as well, which can add a lot to the overall style and mood of the image. With settings like our exposure adjustment, we can always make sure that we're keeping all the information in our highlights intact. When shooting in log, I like to keep my exposure adjustment level between -0.3 and -0.7 because it's typically much easier to recover shadows in post than it is to recover highlights. If you notice that your image still looks blown out, tap on the brightest area of your image and drag your finger down to help reduce those highlights. It's a super easy change, but it's really effective in erasing that blown out look that you see with a lot of beginner filmmakers. Now, lighting is a topic we could honestly do a whole video series on, but let me share the basics. Your lighting will change a lot depending on what you're shooting and the other gear that you have. I come from a documentary filmmaking background, so using natural light and existing light sources are usually my go-to. Typically, having your light shining directly in front of your subject creates a pretty flat image, and that becomes an issue because of our second key component to cinematic filmmaking. Number two, depth. Depth can be achieved in a lot of ways, but first let's discuss how lighting can achieve depth. As I said, front-facing lighting can be pretty boring and doesn't really look cinematic. If you own lighting gear, you can play around with backlighting and lighting styles like Rembrandt lighting, which can really make for a great cinematic look. If you don't have lights though, don't worry, find a light source like daylight coming through a window, sunlight, street lights, or anything you can find, and then position yourself and the camera in between or to the side of your subject and the light source. One thing you'll really want to avoid is harsh lighting, which can ruin the cinematic look of your image. So if you're using daylight, try to avoid shooting at noon when the sun is strongest. And if you're using lighting gear, make sure to use a softbox to diffuse the light and that it's large enough for the light to spread out and create that nice soft look. Play around with the angle of your light source until you're getting some nice shadows on your subject that will really help make your image pop. If you want to take it a step further, you can even use reflectors and some negative fill to really deepen your shadows or bounce your light in tougher lighting situations. Another great option to help you get depth in your image is to change your focal length with your iPhone 16 Pro's 3 lenses. A big part of the old iPhone look that you tended to see was a very flat looking image with every single part in focus. Obviously, for most cases, Apple wants to make sure that you aren't missing a moment, and so the camera prioritizes keeping everything in focus. But to achieve the cinematic look, we want a dynamic image that has lots of depth. So if you zoom in to 2x on the iPhone 16 Pro, it can really help your footage stop looking like a standard iPhone shot and start looking like it was shot on a mirrorless or DSLR camera that you can swap lenses with. Zooming in also makes it easier for the viewer to see the blurred background, and again, it just starts looking more and more like a professional camera shot. Now that we have a well-lit image with lots of depth, we need to focus on our last key component that's going to tie everything together. Number 3, composition. At the end of the day, you could get every setting dialed in on your iPhone and every filmmaking accessory, but if you have no sense of composition, you're not going to end up with those beautiful cinematic shots that you want. Now, I'm not going to sit here and drone on about rule of thirds because honestly, as much as it's a great guideline, it can't be the only way for you to form your shots. If you don't know, the rule of thirds essentially tells you that the most important elements of your shot need to stay on the lines and the intersecting points of the grid. So if you can't find an interesting way to frame your shot, use it. It's a popular rule for a reason, and for the most part, it does work great at producing a well-balanced image. But also make sure to intentionally break that rule when you can with some center frame shots, low angles, high angles, moving and static shots, and more, because really, if you've got good lighting and depth in your shot, you can really get creative with your composition and still pull off that cinematic look. Now, all of this so far will help you get great images out of your iPhone 16 Pro, but I want to make sure you understand a few key things. Firstly, Apple ProRes log files are massive. If you buy an iPhone 16 Pro with lots of internal storage, maybe you'll be fine, but just remember that only 17 seconds of log footage was 1.4 gigs. So if you're serious about turning this phone into your filmmaking rig, there's a couple of accessories that I would actually recommend. First of all, a portable SSD. If you're using this for an actual shoot, the last thing that you'd want is that you're about to get that perfect shot and then suddenly you run out of space on your iPhone. So a high speed and portable SSD like the ones from SanDisk will be a great option. Plus, if you want to use the 4K 120 function, you'll need one. Next is a variable ND filter. An ND, or neutral density filter, helps control the amount of light you're letting into your camera. Why do we need it? Well, if we're trying to get the absolute best look out of our camera and we want our shutter speed to create realistic cinematic motion, then in an app like the Blackmagic Camera app, we would set our shutter speed to double our frame rate. So if we're shooting at 24 frames per second, our shutter would be 1/48th of a second. If we're shooting 60 frames, our shutter would be 1/120th of a second. You get the idea. But iPhone has some limitations. We have a fixed aperture of 1.8, which can't be changed and lets in lots of light. So to help us bring down that shutter and let even more light in, we need something to balance it out. Luckily nowadays, there's lots of NDs that are built for iPhones, like the ones from Moment, that will help with that. Lastly, if you don't trust your hands to get steady footage for you, I think it could be really worth it to get an iPhone stabilizer, especially if you're filming while zoomed in at 2x or greater, because all those little handshakes will be much more noticeable at higher focal lengths. Other than that, you can obviously get a ton more accessories to help with your iPhone filmmaking, but those are honestly the only 3 that I can really see helping you out to get the most out of your iPhone 16 Pro. Now, after all that is the really fun part. You should have some awesome shots that are ready to be color graded now. I personally use DaVinci Resolve for all my color grading, and I think it's a fantastic tool for professional filmmakers, but also filmmakers of any level. In terms of cinematic color grading styles, it can really change from person to person, so play around with your footage and see what tones and color combos you actually like. With that said, let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do a video breaking down my color grading process. And if you want to find out about the not so great parts about filmmaking with the iPhone 16 Pro, watch this video here. If you enjoyed this, come hang out and follow along for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.